Two guys desperate to do it with a woman create a computer to fill all of their fantasies. That's why today I'm going to recap Weird Science. Remember that if you like the videos, you can support the channel by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. It's free and it really helps me to keep growing. Now, let's recap. This is the story of Gary and Wyatt, two teenagers who just want a girl to love them. But that's almost impossible to happen considering they are losers. Or so they thought, because one night, while watching Frankenstein's movie, Gary comes up with the great idea of creating the perfect woman. Of course, if we follow the logic of the character they are being inspired by, to create her, they would have to dig up a young woman. Luckily for everyone, that's not what our protagonist was referring to, and his idea is much simpler. He just wants to create a virtual girl with whom they can have conversations, and for that, he needs the help of his friend. The only problem with all of this is that 1985 computers don't have enough capacity to create an artificial intelligence like the one they want, so they have no choice but to hack into what looks like a power plant to get what they need. Everything seems to go perfectly as planned, and with a questionable technology that is based on cutting out pictures from magazines in order to give her all the qualities they want, they complete her. To end their game, they do a silly ritual with bras on their heads and a doll as a body for their perfect woman. The biggest problem comes when they hit the button to activate her, and everything starts to get out of control because there was just a storm that ruins everything. And when I say that everything goes out of control, it's literally everything. Appliances start to run by themselves because of the overload of energy, there are fires, and even gravity starts to fail. By the time the protagonists realize this, they disconnect the computer, but that no longer works, and when they try to break it, they can't. When it finally seems that everything is over, the door of the room begins to inflate until it explodes, and behind a red cloud appears their creation, an actual real woman. The first thing they do with this girl is to fulfill one of their greatest fantasies, which is to shower with her, even though they have their clothes on. This woman is fully aware that they are her creators, so she listens to them in everything, and meanwhile, they try to pretend they are more mature, although they are not very good at it. After that, they put on suits that change color when they walk through the door of the room. But that's not the weirdest thing. As the girl got out of the car out of nowhere, and she explains to them that she can get whatever she wants, but for now, she just needs them to give her a name. There, Gary names her Lisa, since that's the name of a girl he liked but turned him down. After that, they arrive at a bar, even though they are not supposed to be there since they are underage, but just by wishing it, she creates fake IDs for them. At first, they are a little scared, but after a couple of drinks, they relax and don't stop talking to the guys in the place. Later, Lisa tells the guys it's time to leave, although she doesn't want to drive, so she asks Wyatt for a ride. And all we know, it's not a good idea to let a 15-year-old drive, so as expected, they end up crashing. Anyway, that doesn't matter because the real problem is that Wyatt has to find a way to hide Lisa from his brother Chet. He's not exactly the best brother in the world, and he got worse since he started going to military school. The thing is, they managed to buy his silence with just a couple of dollars. And after leaving their friend totally drunk in the room, Wyatt goes to find Lisa. When he finds her, they have their first kiss, and she teaches him how to kiss better. The next morning, they wake up wondering if everything that happened was real or just a dream they shared. And when they are both convinced that it was just their imagination, Lisa calls them down for breakfast. Wyatt comes down first and starts talking to Lisa, but she has to hide as soon as Chet shows up. And they fight for a while, but our protagonist tries not to give much importance to what he tells him. Later, they both go to a store to buy a perfume for Lisa. And on the other hand, she is in a lingerie store looking for the best thing to be with some minor boys. After our protagonists finish shopping, they stay there waiting for Lisa. But right above them are the two bullies that always bother them at school. And on top of that, they are with the girls that Wyatt and Gary like. These two have the idea of throwing their drinks on top of the boys, and as if it was really funny, the whole mall laughs at the protagonists. The girls aren't too amused and leave, but all it takes is for the guys to apologize for them to come back. While this group was leaving, they cross paths with Lisa. When the two guys see her, they are completely flipped out by her beauty, and don't hesitate even for a second to go after her. Obviously, Lisa is not even a little bit interested in either of them, so she simply says that she's waiting for someone else. As soon as she says that, Gary shows up in a car showing off how he can kiss her. Before they leave, Lisa tells them that there is going to be a party at Wyatt's house, although she hadn't told the owner of the house. So he tries to tell her that he can't do that because of his parents, and it would get him in big trouble. All this doesn't matter to her because she thinks this is the only way they can be popular and meet other girls. Besides, she is very excited because she has to go pick up Gary and she's going to be able to meet his parents. Once there, Gary tries to convince his parents that Lisa is an exchange student and that's why she looks older. Plus, they are only going out to watch a movie. But Lisa ruins everything by telling them the truth about Wyatt's party, causing his parents to start scolding him because they can't believe anything he's telling them. And even his father wants to call the police, but the girl ends up pointing a gun at him to let the boy out. In the car, we see that the gun was just water. And just like she said, we see that his parents don't care much about what happened. And they even forgot that they had a son. Already at Wyatt's house, they prepared everything with the hope that few people would go, since they are not supposed to have friends. But to their bad luck, as soon as they ring the doorbell, hundreds of guys show up wanting to destroy everything. This makes Wyatt feel bad, and he feels the need to immediately go to the bathroom with his best friend. After a while, doing what he had to do, the girls we saw earlier knock on the door because they wanted to touch up their makeup. And there, for the first time, they have the opportunity to talk to them. A few minutes later, they think that they could try something with the girls, and if it doesn't work, they can go back to Lisa. But the girls don't think the same and leave. On the other hand, Lisa was with the two bullies that don't stop trying to get her to sleep with them. However, she's very loyal to her creators, so she leaves. And on the way, she meets the two girls and encourages them to talk with the main characters. Meanwhile, we meet Wyatt's grandparents, who were at the asylum but just remembered that their grandson was going to be alone tonight, and they thought it was a good idea to visit him. At the party, things continue the same, with the only difference that Wyatt and Gary stay with the bullies talking about sharing Lisa. They tell them that they can't do it because it's not right. But when the other two propose to exchange Lisa for the other two girls, the protagonists reveal what they did to create her. Again, they do everything just as they did with Lisa, only with the likes of these two guys, and as expected, the moment they press the button to start the creation, everything starts to get out of control. Lisa quickly realizes this because inside the house, a lot of strange things are happening to the guests, like appearing inside the TV or flying out of the chimney. When everything ends, the silhouette of a woman appears, but it turns out that it's only Lisa, who reminds them that they were idiots for trying to create another girl. And on top of that, they forgot to put a doll, and that's why they end up creating a huge missile that destroys the whole house. And to make things worse, Wyatt's grandparents arrive and make a big fuss when they realize the mess in the house. Although nothing ends up happening because Lisa takes care of the old people and leaves them frozen and locked in a closet of the kitchen. And there, she realizes that all of the adults surrounding her creators prevent them from changing and becoming the way they really want to be. It's then that she has the great idea of creating some very strange bikers to invade the house.
Wyatt, there are killer mutants in your house, okay?
They end up hiding and Lisa has to go looking for the guys, because her plan is to show them that they are brave and kick those freaks out of her party. But as much as she tells them that they have to do it because the others are making a huge mess, they would rather stay alive than face those crazy people. Still, no matter how hard they try to stay in their hiding place, one of those weirdos breaks through the wall and forces them out of there. These guys ask them how could losers like them throw a party with so many guests, so they play along and do nothing because they are scared to death. But when they grab the girls they like, they don't doubt to confront them. Then they take all their courage, and following the tactic that Lisa used with his parents, Gary points a gun at them and makes all those weirdos leave and even apologize for having entered without permission. There they celebrate for having succeeded, and we realize that all this time Gary was pointing a real gun at them when it was supposed to be a toy one. Anyway, all this doesn't matter because after the party, our protagonists stay talking to the girls about what they think of them and they kiss. In the morning, Chet arrives totally angry and worried about the big mess in his house. He rushes in to find his brother and give him what he deserves. But first, he finds Gary with the girl, and the only thing he does is to beat them both so he can go find the real reason for all of this. When he finds him, Wyatt introduces him to Lisa, so she explains him everything. Although, for the big guy, it's just a farce, and he doesn't believe her until he sees his grandparents frozen in the closet. There, Lisa sends the guys to go drop off their girls at their respective homes, while she makes sure that Chet keeps his mouth shut. On the way, Gary has a couple of problems for speeding, although he easily loses the patrol car and arrives at his new girlfriend's house. There he tells her that he's not really like she thinks he is, since he doesn't really have that many friends, and even the suit he's wearing isn't his. But she doesn't care, because in just a couple of hours, she's totally in love with him. On the other hand, Wyatt leaves his girl at her house, and they have one last kiss. Since he will probably be grounded for a month, and they won't be able to see each other during all that time, but they promise to get back together. Meanwhile, Lisa turns Chet into a slimy monster to force him not to tell anything and to stop bothering Wyatt and Gary. He easily accepts to recover his normal body, and as soon as the guys arrive, he apologizes for how he treated them. They ignore him to be able to talk to Lisa and tell her about their new girlfriends. She congratulates them and tells them that it's time to leave because they already managed to be with girls of their age. And so she disappears in the smoke, and also with her powers, she ends up ordering all the chaos that had been provoked in the house just in time for Wyatt's parents to arrive. That was Weird Science. If you liked the recap, please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video.